strenuously requested that I not publicize it. They did not want me to publicize this letter, said this disinformation campaign is almost entirely based on a negative. Mrs. Macron has not provided definitive proof that she is a woman, therefore she must be a man. Not only is this an inherently unreliable basis for a claim, but also, and this is in bold, Mrs. Macron does not owe you proof that she is and always has been a woman, because frankly, it is none of your business. It is arrogant, self-centered, and truly offensive to believe that you are owed evidence of another's sex, gender identity, or sexual orientation. And additionally, it is defamatory to call someone a liar when they rightfully choose not to give in to your demands. Then it says, make no mistake, there is no shame in being LGBTQ+, but your accusations go beyond that. These allegations are defamatory for multiple reasons. At the outset, it must be clear that there is nothing defamatory or reputationally damaging about being transgendered. But what is defamatory and highly damaging is attacking the integrity and the credibility of a president. I'm sorry, I just have to chuckle at that in general because I'm just thinking about President Trump and all the attacks. Like, what's defamatory is attacking the idea that Biden lies or that President Trump lies. You're not allowed to question their integrity in France. Like, this is just such a European letter in the sense that, like, they have no idea what free speech actually means of a president and Mrs. Macron with this vicious rumor that they are lying and manipulating the French people. One you knew was false at the time of publication. They write, beyond this, your conspiracy theory hinges on Mrs. Macron's family refusing to subject themselves to public scrutiny. Okay, guys, so the reason that they're not answering this or responding to this is because they don't need to be publicly scrutinized. Like, why would a president and a first lady have to be publicly scrutinized? That just doesn't come with the territory when you live in a place like Europe and you don't have free speech. They can just hush you and sue you for speaking. Like I said, they are in for a rude awakening. This is America. And the next line really gets me because they say what should be enough evidence to disprove these falsehoods is that Mrs. Macron has denied them. President Macron has denied them, and Mrs. Macron's daughter, Tifone, has denied them. It says, since then, you have continued to knowingly and intentionally peddle yellow journalism, defaming the Macrons. Indeed, you released another episode mentioning the conspiracy on June 26th. And then it says, on July 7th, you brought these lies to the Jimmy Dore show. On July 8th, you again posted on X, this time with a photo of yourself in a t-shirt showcasing a fake Time magazine Man of the Year cover featuring Mrs. Macron, which has received 832,000 views and 3,000 retweets. And they actually put a picture of me wearing the shirt in this legal letter. And I wrote, I'm calling it now Time Man of the Year. It's an incredible shirt. Obviously, we now need to get this back up on sale. I don't know what is actionable in a parody shirt. I'm not sure where they're going with that. Then they insist on explaining to me that calling someone a rapist in France, they have different laws. And they insist that it's not statutory rape because Emmanuel was or would have been 15. They heavily imply this. This is the exact verbiage from the letter. It reads, Mrs. Macron did not statutorily rape President Macron. Let us be clear that the age of consent in France is 15. The two met and fell in love in 1993 when she was a drama teacher and he was 15 years old. When President Macron was 17, he vowed to marry Mrs. Macron, following through with his promise. They wed in 2007 when President Macron was 29 years old. Now, I want to first let you guys know that this is stunning because all throughout the time that President Macron was running, their story was that he was 17 years old. Okay. Now we have here writing that they're now adjusting that. All the publications said, oh, he was 17. It makes him sound like he's almost legal. And she was, however, I think they said she was 34. And one of the things that we told you was that this whole legend that they created in the legacy media was dishonest. And they allowed this to go on and go on until people started looking, independent journalists, and going, wait a second, Emmanuel Macron was not 15. And I also believe there's an interview where Emmanuel Macron states that he met her before he was 15 years old. But them implying that the age of consent in France is 15 is actually wholesale dishonesty, because what they're leaving out is the age of consent at that time when they were together. It was 15 only if the person that they had the affair with, the sexual affair with, was not someone who had any power or control. That is still the law in France today, okay? So in order for it to be age of consent, it cannot be a teacher, it cannot be a therapist, it cannot be any person when you are a minor that has control over you. And as they mentioned in that same paragraph, Emmanuel Macron was the student of Brigitte Macron. They sent us a YouTube link, I'm not kidding, of 2 different instances, and they claim that in the background, you see this little fat man? I'm showing you, this is actually from a legal letter right here. They say that's MichelTrogneux. That's proof. Look, you pressed these lies harder after the Olympics opening ceremony in Paris. On July 29th, you released another episode titled The Olympics Exposed Brigitte Macron. As you know, the 2024 Olympics opening ceremony was widely misinterpreted as a reenactment of a Last Supper, but it was intended to represent the Feast of Dionysus. Nonetheless, you claimed that the satanic Olympic ceremony was really a ceremony to honor Brigitte Macron because she's transgendered. You posted on X that Brigitte is a transvestite and called it a demonic